Welcome to Gar's Graveyard Garage. And this series is going to be the 1972 GMC Wrecker. We're going to see if we can get this thing revived and back on the road. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? We're taking a break away from the old LTD, which, by the way, is running and driving and stopping now. We just haven't done a test drive. I did pop the front brake lights on and bleed the brakes and just tested it when I moved it here. Brakes are working, but we'll continue that at another time. In this series, we're going to finally get started on this old wrecker. Been dying to get started on this. I haven't done anything to it yet other than this door, when I got it, wouldn't close all the way because the mechanism in here was completely seized up and the button was missing. So put a new door handle on here and pulled the mechanism out and put the torch to it, and oil and torch and oil and more torch, more oil, and got it working again. So locks, everything works now. Interior, all I've done is clean all the trash out because I can't get that door open, which means I'm going to have to disassemble this panel and get inside there to get that door to where it'll open again. But here's the truck. Hasn't been on the road since 1989. It's a standard 4-speed with the granny. It was used in service in the 80s for a local tow company out here, and at one point he retired it and I guess was going to trash the truck, and so he ripped the winch and hoist and all that stuff off of it. Luckily he still has it all. I just have to go pick it up. This does have the upgraded 18-inch split ring wheels. Nobody in this area will touch those things. I sure as heck don't want to touch those things. So it's a standard 6.5 by 8 lug. So a lot of other dually wheels will fit this. So we're gonna change the wheels out. The patina, we're gonna clean the patina up and make it shine and leave it. We're not painting it. I want this thing to look just like it does. Under the hood, transmission's still here. A lot of room to work with, a lot of room for activities. We're going to clean all of this up and make all this pretty. I'm going to leave the original white on the firewall, but all of this is going to get cleaned up, probably replace all these brake components. I didn't realize it till after I got the truck that the radiator was missing, but in that box right there is a brand new high performance aluminum like racing style radiator that's going to go in here. So first things first, we have the engine, but it needs to be gone through. And if you didn't catch the story about this this engine in one of my first videos, this was a freebie. Somebody ordered this engine about 10 years ago. Brand new crate engine. I know what it is now because I found part of a sticker that was on it and I ran the numbers on it. So this is a 4-bolt main, 440 horsepower, upgraded 350. So somebody ordered this 10 years ago in a crate, wrapped in plastic, but dropped it on the ground and just left it. for 10 years. So the crate deteriorated, the plastic deteriorated, weather got to it. But I've been slowly going through it, and it's needs a little cleanup. There's some surface rust and whatnot, but nothing bad. And then there's the roller rockers. And all of this, I mean, you can tell it's never been fired. It's all new, all clean. I mean, it's still set where they, when they shipped it, still set to the timing marker or for TDC. So what we're gonna do is this motor is in fact seized up. So in this part of the video, we're gonna tear into this motor and see if we can unseize it. I would probably try to unseize it as it sits without tearing the heads off, but unfortunately, they never put spark plugs or covered the spark plug holes. I don't know if there's mud dauber nests down in any of those pistons. I don't know anything. So I've got a brand new gasket kit. We're just gonna take it all the way down just to be safe to put this in that tow truck. So that's what we're gonna be doing in this part 1 video for the 72 GMC. So that's where we're gonna get started now. All right, first things first is gonna be to get the rockers off of here. Yep. Yeah, have to clean them up a little bit. There's a little bit of surface rust, but no oil has ever passed through these things. Being that this thing has never been fired, this thing should come off pretty easy. Maybe. All right, moment of truth. Oh, yeah, like I said, this isn't too bad. That'll clean up. But I'm gonna show y'all what's down in there. Big old mud dauber's nest right there. Yep, never been fired. That ought to clean up all right. We'll see. Get down in there and clean all this gunk out of there. And mud dauber's nest. All right, well, on to the other side. Instead of making y'all watch me tear that side apart, I'll knock it out real quick and then bring you back when we've got that one off, and then we'll see how bad that side is. And then we'll start our cleanup process. All right, let's find out what's under number 2. And another mud dauber nest. But luckily, it's not as bad. Spider webs, mud dauber nest. Yep. Too bad they don't all look like that. We would be doing this. The head, this one's not as bad. It'll clean up pretty good. So, what I'm gonna do to start off with is vacuum all this gunk out of here and then just coat it with some PB Blaster for right now, let it sit, and then we'll come back and see if we can get any movement out of this and clean the cylinder walls up a little bit, because there is some scaling. Luckily it's surface scaling, we can get it off. And yeah, I think we'll be able to get this thing to turn over. Go ahead and pull all these lifters out and make sure they're all good, which they should be. I forgot to mention the when we pulled the pallet apart of what was left of the pallet this thing was mounted to, there was a plastic and a paper shoved up underneath the engine, and it identified what cam is in here. So it's actually a competition cam. So yeah, it's got some goodies to it, and I think this is going to be perfect for that tow truck. So all right, we'll tune back in just a second. I started noticing in the water ports, or the coolant ports, mud dauber nests down in all of those. So I started blowing them out. So I was going to show you on this side, because there's probably some in here too. Since the water pump openings were exposed, they built all in these chambers. So let's see what blows out of here. Oh yeah, well, and rust. If you ever need to clean out an old engine, just blow through each port, each bolt hole, and don't worry if you don't get all the mud dauber nests out of there, because surprisingly, if you ever get like a coolant leak, they work great as a stop leak, so you can leave them in there. I'm kidding. In all seriousness, we're not going to put the water pump on this thing until we get it in the truck. And once it's in the truck and all bolted back together, we'll run a hose through it and do a proper flush. But luckily on the true side, mud daubers use very soft mud, so it dissolves easy and will pass through. So we'll be all right. All right, looks like this side is just, luckily, surface rust. The other side was probably about 6 good-sized mud dauber nests that took me about 30 minutes, but they blew out of there. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do real quick while I've got the pistons soaking in there, we're gonna take the Dremel tool with a soft wire brush tip, and we're going to go through and get all the scaling and everything off, and then we'll push on the valves, make sure they're opening and closing correctly, and then we'll get the other side done. All right, we got a soft brush on here. It's a very light steel, so it won't do any damage. So we're going to get in here, start going around that, and get all of these surfaces and ports all cleaned out. Oh, and before anybody says anything, yes, I'm wearing my safety goggles. Are you happy? There you go. Not too bad. Let's go to the worst of the four, see how this one does. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see if we can get this scaling out of here. Again, using this. Again, I have my safety goggles on. Okay, I got one other trick someone will probably complain about, but it's worked for me before, so I'm going to do it. And if it works, it can't be wrong. All right, I've done this trick before, so I'm going to do a little coating on these. And yep, pretty much like glass again. I'm going to do a little bit more here on the outer ring, but it works. There we go. These shallower ones are always a little bit more of a pain, but we'll see if we can do it. And that's why they pop out. Getting there. All right, these all came out pretty good too. Like I said, the pistons, when we get them to start moving, they'll clear up, knock that surface rust off the top. I guess what we're going to do now is go ahead and pull these lifters out and see what they look like, which they should be fine. I can't find my hook tool. I'll come out of there. Oh, let me see if I can find my hook tool real quick, because that ain't working. There we go. Yeah, they're all coming out real easy. Got a little bit of surface rust on them, so we'll soak them and clean them up. Oh, that one stuck. Got a few, or one, probably one or two that are going to be stuck. Oh, come on. All right, so get this one to move or not. All right, we got one stuck. So let me see. Oh, there it goes. All right, not too bad. Okay, I'm gonna get these soaking in some cleaner, and then what's next? We'll see if we can't. We'll clean all these cylinders out, and then we'll see if we can possibly get this thing to move yet. Moment of truth. Let's find out if this thing is gonna spin over at all. Oh, yep, it budged. There it goes. Oh, that disappeared. There we go. Now we got it to move, we can spray it down a little bit more and see if it'll continue around. Well, shoot. Drill bit. Or an Allen key, whatever. All right. Do a couple rotations here. And then clean it up again. This puppy's gonna run. Getting easier. Okay, I'm gonna start cleaning the cylinders up and lubing it down again, getting some more blaster on there. Oh yeah, these cylinder walls are perfect. So yeah, let me finish wiping this down, and then I'll come back and show you where we are next. While I'm continuing to clean this up, I drained this oil back when I first got this engine, and I did happen to shoot it on my camera phone. So I'll show you right now what came out of this oil pan. I'm out here messing with the 350, and I figured I'd share with y'all what's going to come out of the oil pan. I haven't popped the drain plug yet, so we're about to find out how bad it is. All I've done is loosen it up. All right, here comes the moment of truth. Yeah. Water. Let's see if there's anything in here besides water. Oh. All right, here comes some Taco Bell. That's nasty. If you ever blow a head gasket real bad, this is what your oil will look like. Luckily, this is just rainwater. Huh? Not too bad. Oh, no, spoke too soon. Yeah, definitely a bad case of Taco Bell. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna have to stick a little plunger up in there and pull that out. Alright, well, that answers my question. So, I'll update you whenever I do the next thing. Alright, who's hungry? Alright, got all the Cylinders all cleaned out, pistons cleaned off, surface cleaned up. Got the valley all cleaned out, got it oiled up. I'm going to make sure all of this is good. Came out pretty good. So still need to clean up that head, get it ready, clean off the surface for that one, and then we could start putting all of this back together. And another thing I noticed, didn't even realize it till just a minute ago when I was cleaning, these are board 30 over. So board 30 over, competition cam, roller rockers. Yeah, this is going to be a fun engine. All right, got the lifters back in. They're all clean and moving nicely. Cleaned out the passages. So now we can get the head gaskets back on. Heads are cleaned up and ready. We'll get that reassembled and yeah, all that fun stuff. And then we'll have to go back and reset our valve lash and that stuff. And yeah, she'll be about ready to clean up the block. I've got some more of that Chevy orange paint, so we're gonna freshen this up a little bit, make it clean again. I mean, it cleaned up pretty good, but it could use a fresh coat. So we're gonna go back and do all that. The valve covers actually cleaned up pretty good, wherever they are. There they are. They were pretty rusty. I just kind of briefly ran over it. So this one? No, it was the other one with the Dremel, and it knocked all the surface rust off and it cleaned up real good. So we don't need it perfect, just nice and clean, but they'll be good for the truck it's going into. I don't want everything too pretty because I like the patina, so we can't have too much pretty on there. Just like on the interior, I'm gonna redo a lot of the interior, probably new seat or have the seat reupholstered, new dash pad, but I want to keep it more or less original on the inside. I am gonna put a tow truck light bar up on top. I've got to put not for hire on there. The old graphics on the door, I'm going to have those converted over to the graphics for my garage, and we'll blend them in like we did on the square body to look like they've been there for years. And then of course new wheels, tires, get all that put back up. And by the way, we have named the truck Clyde, and let's see who can get the reference. So I'll show you in a minute why his name's Clyde. And everybody else was saying, name him Mater. Well, no, that's the wrong truck. Mater was not a 72. He was older. He was I think a 55 or somewhere in that range. So, all right, let me get the head gaskets put back on and we'll start putting the heads back on. I'm hoping the audio is going to be better for you this time around because I've had some lav mics. I just haven't been using them. I've always been using the microphone on the front of the camera. So hopefully this is better. And before anyone asks, yes, typically before you put heads on, you always replace the head bolts. Well, these have never been used, so they should be just fine because there's never been any heat on them. They've only been torqued on, so they'll be fine. We don't have to worry about replacing them. They're still in good shape, still clean. So we're going to reuse those. And all right, get some of this excess blaster out of here. All right. Okay. Get one bolt in there just to make sure it's not going to fall off. Oh, wrong bolt. Oh. Oh, is that a... No? Must be... Oh, that's right. There's two shorter bolts. This should be a longer one. Okay. All right. Now that one won't fall off. Go ahead and get the other one on. All right, torque sequence we're going to do is going to be 25, 45, 65. And you pretty much start in the middle and just keep working your way around. So we're going to start dead center. All right, we got all the heads torqued back together. We'll get the push rods back in. I've got to figure out where I put the intake bolts, because it's been a little while since I took the intake off. But I'll have to get some break-in oil for this thing, high zinc, and then we'll run that oil in it for about 1,000 miles, and then do a flush or a drain and clean. And once we get this all back together, the rocker assembly, we'll turn the engine a few times, make sure everything moves correctly, all the valves are working as they should. But there's I know a few different tricks that the guys use for setting the valve lash on these things, on these hydraulic lifters. But I do it the old-fashioned, easy way. Spin the motor a quarter a time, 8 times, and set the valve lash to 0. And it's a pretty easy process. You just pretty much spin the push rod until there's no valve lash or no gap, and then you work your way around each quarter time until they're all set, and then check it one more time after that. It's pretty easy. Some people get technical on this thing and do one cylinder at a time. It's easier just to do the spin trick. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, let me get these rockers on here. Okay, let's see who got the Clyde reference.
Right turn, Clyde.
Onward. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but it's called Every Which Way But Loose, and the sequel is called Every Which Way You Can. Great Clint Eastwood movies. Once we get all these set, we'll spray some more lube. I'm trying to keep all of this very lubed up. Keep the rust away this time around. Oh, there's the intake bolts. But they, yeah, definitely need to be cleaned up. They're pretty gnarly. The water was sitting on top of the intake, so they're pretty rusty. If I can't clean them up, we'll just replace them. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start at one side, work our way around. And what you want is to tighten the rocker arm down till you have zero lash or zero movement between the lifter and the rocker arm, and you want to be able to spin it. And what we're going to do is rotate the engine a quarter, check them again. A quarter, check them again. Quarter, check them again. Another quarter. The right way this time. If you lose track of where you are, it's no biggie because you're going to make a couple rotations. As long as you rotate it a few times and check them, you'll be all right. All right, we're gonna give it a couple more quarters, check them all, make sure we're good. Nope, got one a little bit loose. And once you're done, if you kind of look across the nuts, they should all be about even, very close to even on the studs. If you see one that's way off, then you got something going on. All right. We are done with that part. All right. It's all set. I was gonna go ahead and put the intake on with you guys, but the bolts are just too far shot, and I don't want to put the silicone and everything on there without the right bolts to go ahead and bolt it down. So I'm gonna get this old Performer all cleaned up. Still got to find a carburetor, decide what I'm gonna put on here. Probably, I don't know, Edelbrock, Holly, something. We'll get that on there, and that'll probably be on the next video. But for right now, the main goal was to see if we could get this thing to come back around, and it's all back together, oiled up, spinning good. Still tight, of course, because this engine has never been ran. But I think it's going to be a good one. So that's going to wrap up this one. This is going to be shorter than normal. Some of you I know will appreciate it, because I've heard that some of you don't like it when I do really long videos. So here's a short one. This is going to be a multi-part, because there's no way I can get that truck back on the road in 1 or 2 episodes. So this will probably be a 5-6 episode from start to finish. So part 1, we got the motor, and from there, get it ready, get it in the truck, and we'll have the little one here helping us as well. So we'll get her helping us clean. We need to get underneath there, clean all the fender wells and all that out, and we're gonna paint that, make it nice. We'll start on the interior, start on the body work, the minor things we need to do. I do need to replace the rockers. They're pretty cancered. They're bad. But anyways, again, thank you everyone for liking and subscribing. If you haven't done that yet, please do so. You guys have just put us over the 9,000 mark in under 2 months. So you guys are amazing. We're ecstatic about all of this happening. And everybody that keeps buying merch from the merch store. If you haven't checked it out, please go check out the merch store. At least browse, window shop, go check it out. But until the next episode, when we probably put this back together, and probably going to have the we have Casper in here. And the next episode, we might even take the old LTD for its first test drive. I'm going to get put temporary insurance on it and some temporary plates so we can at least cruise it around. So I hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again probably next week.